All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Easter's approaching, so let's talk about a resurrection. Let's talk about Jean Charest for a second. Not lost on me. I've been looking at the TV, right? Here in our studios, we got TVs that are on all the time. Let me tell you something. If you have CNN on, chances are in the last couple of weeks, you've seen Jean Charest on your TV set talking to the likes of Wolf Blitzer and others over on that network. Now, Antonine Yaccarini, political analyst, just penned a piece over at Nouveau about the unexpected comeback of Jean Charest, and she is on the line. Antonine, welcome back to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Tell me why you wanted to write about this resurrection.
Because it's crazy. Jean Charest is back. You know, in politics, timing is everything. This crisis with the United States has brought a whole new Jean Charest, this expert in Canada-U.S. relations. I'm hearing a lot of positive comments about Jean Charest. People seem to appreciate his perspective. He was appointed to this Canada-U.S. committee by Justin Trudeau, and he has become a regular media voice explaining the trade war, and he is doing that very well. And it makes you wonder, if the Conservatives had chosen Jean Charest as their leader in 2023, would the Conservatives right now be in a better position in this election? If you had this Mark Carney and Jean Charest match, maybe it would have been different than with Pierre Poilievre.
Or, so you know what, I've asked myself that question, and I go back and forth, right? Let me tell you why I go back and forth, where I'm not determined either way. I have a note here from a listener, right? A listener in Dorval. They say they're a millennial, and they live in Dorval. They say, Elias, I joined the Conservative Party to vote for Charest. He embodies politically what I believe most Canadians are: center-right economically, small L socially, right? So I say, okay, there's a case for it, but then I look, well, it's Charest versus Carney. It's the exact same candidate going up against each other. I mean, like, they're so close on various issues that maybe you don't have as much of a distinction as you'd like. And you say timing's everything. With everything going on with China, I imagine the dirt that would be brought up right now. Speaking of similarities, right? Carney's being dragged through the mud on his connections with Beijing and China. And Jean Charest was a lawyer for Huawei, pushing Huawei 5G for a substantial period. So
absolutely. So he has weaknesses too. I don't deny that, but I'm impressed by this comeback because, when he left the Quebec politics in 2012, it was not very positive for Mr. Charest. High dissatisfaction, mass protests, and even whiffs of corruption. He was deeply unpopular for years. I wouldn't have imagined people wondering, what if it was Jean Charest 2 years ago? So that's a big comeback for Jean Charest. And a lot of people ask me about the possibility that maybe Jean Charest could run again if Mr. Poilievre decided to leave after, let's say, I'm not saying that's what's going on right now or what is going to happen on April 28th. But if Pierre Poilievre loses this election, would Jean Charest be a good successor afterwards?
Would he want that, though? I mean, I'm wondering, what do you even want? It seems like he's very happy on the sidelines, pontificating here, getting these advisory roles. Does he really want to get into any type of political fight again? That's a real question I have.
Absolutely, and he has a positive image right now. He seems to be enjoying this role he has. He's not that old, though, so he is. I think he's 66 years old, so he has a number of good years ahead of him. So we'll see what's next for Jean Charest, but we can say that this commercial war with the U.S. really made Jean Charest having a positive image again in the public eye. That's a win for him.
Do you know what the relationship is like between Charest and Pierre Poilievre? I know, obviously they had a pretty acrimonious leadership battle, but today, and is Jean Charest a federal liberal or a federal conservative at this point in his life? Do you have any idea on that front?
I don't think they have a very good relationship. I could compare this relationship with the one between Doug Ford and Pierre Poilievre. Doug Ford is a conservative, but a more classic Tory one. I think Jean Charest is kind of the same. The Conservative Party really wanted to have someone like Pierre Poilievre as a leader. Pierre Poilievre won that race with a very big margin. So that's where the Conservative Party is at right now. And Jean Charest and his approach was not what the members wanted for their party.
So, excuse me. So how do you view the race right now? It depends on the pollster. Here at CTV, we have these daily Nanos polls. It shows a tightening of the race. How are you handicapping this race right now?
Voting intention trends are pretty clear to me. There are some fluctuations. Sometimes the gap is wider, sometimes it's a little smaller, but the overall momentum still is in favor of Mark Carney. He appears, and he still appears like this responsible, serious guy, and a lot of people want to believe that he's the one that will get us out of this crisis we are in right now. But still 2 weeks to go. We are halfway through this campaign. I'm not ready to say this election is over. You saw that 2 days ago in Edmonton, Pierre Poilievre had this big rally, 10,000 people. That's impressive. I know that the prairies are already conservative territory, but we can see that the voters are pretty motivated. I will give them that. But, this election will be won in Ontario, in Quebec. So even if the Conservatives won 100% of the vote in the West, it wouldn't change anything. They need to get more voters in Ontario. Poilievre also received an important endorsement from Stephen Harper. That might seem normal and basic for a former leader to support his successor, but we were talking about Jean Charest a few minutes ago. Stephen Harper hold that image of a serious, steady hand, a little similar to the image of Mark Carney. So I think that could have an impact. And Harper said many mean things about Mark Carney 2 days ago and said that he's not as good as he tries to make Canadians believe. Is it enough to turn the tide? I'm not sure, but every day matters in this kind of campaign, and this was a good day for Pierre Poilievre.
Wrapping up here with Antonine Yaccarini, political analyst. We're talking about the federal election campaign. Let me ask you, we were talking about this off the top of our show this morning during our Big Five, and one thing I mentioned is, you look at Mark Carney, his net favorables are still through the roof. He's got incredible positives throughout the country, okay? So in my mind, that explains why it's the Conservatives are going very nasty, because they need to figure out a way to bring those positives down. Canadians like what they're seeing in Mark Carney. What do you think on that side of things? What should the Conservative strategy be at this point?
It's very hard. I don't think that the Conservatives should shift and make a 180-degree turn in this election, because even if Mr. Poilievre tried to appear like Mark Carney, it wouldn't work. He doesn't have the same experience. So he keeps on making those announcements about elders, about justice. Still this morning he was making announcement about the criminals. He needs to keep those announcements coming and talk to Canadians about the kind of country they want to be in, because Mark Carney is always, focusing on the commercial crisis with the U.S. because it's something that makes him appear like this. I like to compare Mark Carney to a crisis management expert. Mm-hmm. We don't really know who he is. He gets in the office and he says, I'm going to help you with that very nasty situation you are in. But the more we know about Mark Carney, we can have surprises. So I think the debates will be very important next week. April 16, April 17. Mm-hmm. I know there will be some hockey match probably at the same time, but please take a look at those debates, because I think Canadians should know a lot more about Mark Carney before giving him a blank check.
This is going to be must-watch TV for me, both of those debates, en français and in English. Let me just ask you to wrap up here quickly, Antonine. Sunday, Poilievre's going on Tout le monde en parle. We still don't know if Carney is going to go on. What do you make of that? Because, Tout le monde en parle, 1 million plus viewers in this province. How important is it?
They should all go. All the leaders should go to this interview. This is an occasion to have the time to explain your vision. Pierre Poilievre will probably have a good performance because he's very comfortable in French. But I think Mark Carney did pretty well on this TV show, 5 Leaders, 1 Election in Radio Canada a few days ago. And Mark Carney did a pretty good job. So I don't think, I don't know why Mark Carney wouldn't go.
Except for the strawberries. I mean, he's asked, are you going to buy American strawberries? And his response is, I don't buy groceries. What are you talking about?
I'm a prime minister now. I don't run the errands.
Anywho, Antonine, thank you for coming on. We'll talk again soon.